She was very bright,
sensitive and thoughtful.
always happy, always smiling.
We had no idea that this could possibly happen to us.
The loss of a child is probably the worst thing that can happen.
I have no idea why people would randomly shoot a gun.
Thinking about the fact that that bullet is going up and it has to come down someplace.
We cry every day, and we may for the rest of our lives. I don't know.
June 14th, 1999. 14-year-old Shannon Smith was in her backyard talking to a friend on the phone. It was a clear and quiet night in Phoenix's Windsor Square district.
Well, as teenage kids will do, she was talking on a portable phone, and she happened to be in the backyard, and I was sitting watching the news, and it was a school night, so I was aware of the time, and because the news was on, and there was a light on the phone, and after a while I called her to come in and told her it was time to end the conversation and go to bed, and I didn't get any response, and so then I tried again. So then I got up and went out to look in on her, and she was in the middle of the yard, collapsed, and I couldn't, Lori had already gone to bed, and I couldn't figure out why, and so I went running around what it was, because there was nothing outward that was apparent, and so I tried giving her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and all kinds of stuff like that. In the meantime, of course, Lori called 911, and then they came, and we didn't discover that there was a bullet which had come straight down in the top of her head until we were actually in the hospital, but that's what happened.
The Smiths' loss was devastating. Their beloved Shannon had been killed in their own backyard, her death the result of someone carelessly firing a bullet into the air in the quiet residential neighborhood. Though their lives had been turned upside down, through their grieving, Otis and Lori Smith took action.
We found out that it was just a slap on the wrist when somebody fired a gun inside or into city limits, and so we decided we'd try and do something about it. And then Phil Gordon, I think, helped recruit some people to try and go through the legislature, which was a bipartisan group. It was Chris Comiskey, Mark Spitzer, and Ken Chevron originally, and they really, and we got help from Rick Romley's office, in terms of the drafting, and but they really thought it out well and made sure that it was presented with representation from both sides, which I don't know if you can do that anymore. I don't know how that is, but and we still had trouble getting it through. We had it, Mark Spitzer was in the Senate, and I think Chris Comiskey was too. We had trouble with the House. It was 29 to 1 in the Senate, but we still had trouble in the House. We just barely squeaked through, and there were some people that...
Finally, in April 2000, Shannon's Law was passed, making it a felony to randomly discharge a weapon in city limits. Both Otis and Lori Smith served on the Board of Arizonans for Gun Safety because they too believed that when preventing gun deaths and injuries in Arizona, common sense and prevention-oriented solutions must be the priority.
Arizonans for Gun Safety was just in its earliest stages. I was working with staff from the Brady campaign in Washington to help me get a group of community people together who were concerned about gun violence and wanted to do something about it here in Arizona. And of course, Shannon's law and Shannon's story was all in the papers, and we were introduced through a mutual friend, and I was asked to come down to help testify for the bill, which I did, and that's when I was introduced and met Lori and Otis at the meeting. And as I said, it was mutual admiration at first sight, and it was just a natural fit, and we've been together, working together with so many incredible people over the last 20 years.
Working to help Arizona was a family affair. After losing Shannon, the Smiths adopted twin infants, Tyler and Travis.
They became part of the founding board of Arizonans for Gun Safety, and soon after, they adopted their sons, and we have wonderful memories. We joke that the boys have been honorary board members from the time they were in diapers, because we can remember bringing them to our board meetings, just little tiny bundles, and everyone passing them around while we did our work and our committee work, and they were just part of our family, and that really is what we have been for so many years, and they have been our leading light.
Otis and Lori worked tirelessly on the board until her untimely death several years ago. Still, Otis continues the work started with Shannon's Law. Otis and Lori Smith's work with AGS has brought people together with a focus on making Arizona families safer. Arizonans from all walks of life, regardless of political stance or philosophical differences. Yet this work is not over. In the last years and months, we find gun violence once more in the public eye. Visionary leaders like Otis and Lori Smith are our torchbearers, inspiring others through their actions and through their passion and dedication to the communities of Arizona.